So today I'll be doing a video discussing Gray's son revealed and why you guys need to get up to date with Storm Fullbuster, aka Gray Fullbuster's son. Now recently everybody they've been talking about Natsu X Lucy being confirmed, Nashi Drag Neo being confirmed, and all that stuff is good and it's all hype. But today I'm going to be discussing why you guys need to get up to date and get excited for Storm Fullbuster, because he has potential to surpass Nashi Drag Neo, and he actually is going to be one of the biggest characters in the fairy tale next generation. Now we know that recently Gray x Juvia has been confirmed, and this has been great news because we know that Gray, he's basically been running away from Juvia for the longest, but with one of the recent chapters we actually see that Gray, he confessed his whole feelings towards Juvia, and we saw that he had a pretty good reason into why he was actually running away from Juvia. Like, we found out that he wants to be at his best tip-top condition whenever he wants to get with her, and maybe did understand why Gray was running away from Juvia, because yo, if you have somebody that loyal keep on running towards you like that, yo, no, we all thought that Gray was wild, but it actually did serve a little bit of insight and character development for Gray. And we also do know that Gray and Juvia's child, they were leaked on Twitter. Yes, Hiro Mashima, he leaked the picture of Storm and Nashi a long time ago. If you guys haven't seen the picture, then I don't know what to tell you, because the picture it's been out for a long time. But this was huge news because everybody in the community, they were only talking about Nashi Drag Neo, and there was literally no talks about Gray's child, which is crazy. But the fact that Hiro Mashima actually did release both of them in one drawing goes to show you that he's not just going to value Nashi Drag Neo. It's not like he's just going to play favorites. No, he's introducing both of them, and that means that they're both going to be as important. Some people think they're both going to be the main characters. I'm going to discuss that later on in the video, but the fact that he did leak a picture of Storm, which I think is going to be his son's name, but the fact that he did leak a picture of him alongside with Nashi goes to show you how important he will be. And like a lot of anime onlys know, Gray, he did tell Juvia that he was going to tell her his answer after the war was finished, and the only thing is that we didn't really get to see Gray actually tell Juvia his answer, so that actually did leave a lot of people a little bit disappointed, which is why all of this stuff that is being confirmed with the parent or the son and all this stuff, I guess that's why a lot of people are excited, because Gray, like I said, it was a little bit disappointing that he never told Juvia his answer, but with all this stuff it is kind of relaxing and it does develop their relationship even more. And speaking of developing their relationship, I do believe that this couple, they will get together at the end of the 100-year quest, because we've seen that there are a lot of couples that aren't going to be confirmed. Like, for example, a lot of people, including myself, we want to see Laxus x Mira Jane, and I do think that that could actually happen later on in the series, but it just might not happen just because Hiro Mashima, he might not want to draw it, or one of the biggest plot twists is Jalal x Urza might not be coming true, and I mean, everybody's going crazy after hearing that. So we see that there's a fair share of couples that do not get confirmed, but I strongly do believe that that Gray and Juvia will get confirmed by the end of the 100-year quest. And like I said, I do believe that Natsu x Lucy, they will be confirmed by the end of 100-year quest, just because this one's obvious, because we already seen all the development they've gotten. I mean, we're about to run up on an arc where Natsu is going to confess his feelings to Lucy, so that's going to be crazy. And then, like I said, Gray and Juvia, we know that they're going to get confirmed by the end of the 100-year quest, just because of the recent chapter that just happened. We seen that Gray, he is actually missing Juvia, so I can't wait to see them actually reconnect. And then last but not least, the third couple that we know that is 100% confirmed is Gajio x Levy, and this one is basically, they are basically the pioneers for the next generation, because we see that Gajio, he already has Levy pregnant, so that just goes to show you that the next generation is 100% confirmed. And to be honest, I'm kind of shocked that Hiro Mashima, he didn't like draw a picture of Gajio and Levy's son. I mean, he kind of did with the little flashback, or not little flashback, but when Gajio was about to die, and we saw that he kind of imagined his children, so I guess that was him picturing it. But they didn't get a picture like how an adult version, I don't want to say an adult version, but like a pre-T version of how Nashi and Gray was. So I'm interested to see if Hiro Mashima will release a picture of the Gajeel and Levy's children like that. But like I said, I do think that this pairing will be one of the few ones that actually do get confirmed by the end of the 100-year quest. So for everybody who is a huge Juvia supporter like me, then just be hyped, because we already know that this is going to be confirmed. And like I said, the thing that I like about the Juvia is that they're actually Hiro Mashima. We know that their pairing is actually confirmed, but he's not going to rush it, similar to how he's doing with Natsu x Lucy, because we know that Hiro Mashima at any point he can just make them get together. But he said he wants to take his time, like he said with Gray's, how he basically explained himself. He wants to make sure that he's 100% ready. He's basically saying, Hiro Mashima, that he wants to develop the characters all the way through. He doesn't want to just rush in and just throw some trash, rushed ending. No. So that is some very hype news when it comes to the ending of the 100-year quest. It goes to show you that Hiro Mashima, he's actually taking his time and writing and planning out the whole story. And speaking of the end of the 100-year quest, this leads into the Fairy Tail Next Generation, and this leads me to after discussing their son Storm, because a lot of people do think, will Storm be one of the main characters of Fairy Tail Next Generation? Will there be somebody else? Underrated Age, what do you think? And me personally, I do believe that he will be the main character of the story, but I believe he's going to be the secondary character of the story. I believe he's going to be the Natsu type character, and what I mean by that is, obviously we know that Natsu, he is a main character, one of the mainer characters. I don't even know if Vader is a word, I just made that up, but we know that Lucy, she is the main character. It's told through her story, through her point of view. We know that obviously it's always about how she's writing in her notebook, and we even see at the end of the chapter, this is a little spoiler, a little bit of spoiler, but not really a spoiler, but at the end of the series, we see that Lucy, she's basically just telling everything from her point of view. We don't ever really get to see things from Natsu's point of view, but we do know that Natsu, he is stronger. We know that the story does focus around his journey, so I do believe that, yes, Storm Fullbuster, he could have that role of the Natsu character, whereas he might not be the main character in sense of he's the one who's telling the story, but I do believe that he will play a pivotal role, and he might end up being stronger than Nashi. That's what I mean by he could be the Natsu type character. And if this all is true, this is hype, because this is going to be an upgrade from Gray's position in the story, because like I said, Natsu, he was like a main character, but Gray, he wasn't on the same level as main character as Natsu, if you know what I mean. But Gray was still a main character. He wasn't like he was kind of like a side main character, whereas we see that Storm, he's going to be in Natsu's position this time. So this is hype news for Storm, Gray, all these guys, because we're going to see more of Storm and more of his development than we got to see from Gray. So this does kind of confirm that Storm, he could actually end up being a better character than Gray. So everybody who is excited for that, get excited, get hyped, because like I said, this does mean that he will get a lot of shine in the series. And me personally, I think he might actually be as popular as Nashi. Like, I actually want to know more about him. I mean, the fact that he already has a name and he doesn't, like, the community came up with the name for him, goes to show you how lit he is. So Storm, I definitely do have to say that him being a main character for the next generation will be very lit. And since he is the main character, I have to discuss his abilities and what I do think his type of magic will be, because everybody's been talking about Nashi, how she's going to be a sun dragon slayer, all this, the celestial stuff and all the hype stuff. And don't get me wrong, she's going to be hype, but if you guys aren't excited for Storm's abilities, then you are missing out. Now, I do believe that he will actually start off using Juvia's water make magic. Like, I've been hearing that a lot in the community, and I think that is a good way to start off Storm ability, because obviously you don't want to just give him like some Devil Slayer magic, just give him some super overpowered stuff. No. So if he did actually start off with Juvia's water magic, where he'll be able to use all of her abilities like the scalpel and all that stuff, I do think that would be cool. And then after a while, maybe after they do a couple missions, then you can have Gray teach him ice make magic, because make magic, we know that's one of the more difficult magics to learn. That's why there's only a few mages who actually know them. I mean, Gray, Leon, and then we see obviously Scullion Raider. He's one of the recent people, the 5th generation Dragon Slayers, who can use it. But we see that make magic, it's kind of hard to master. So if he did end up learning it later on, I do think that would be cool, but I do think they'll add a twist on it and he can actually use water make magic. Now, we seen Juvia, she used a little bit of a glimpse of it, but she didn't really use it too much, obviously because she's made out of water. But if he did start using water make magic, I think that would be cool. And we seen Juvia, she actually did use blood water make magic to obviously save Gray's life. So what if Storm does actually use an ability like that? I don't know. I do think that would be cool. And here on Joshua, we do know that he's starting to branch out and use different abilities. So I definitely do think that make magic, whether it's ice, water, or blood, Storm will definitely get it. And then after the time skip, because I do believe that Fairy Tail Next Generation will have a time skip. Yes, you heard me. It will have a time skip. But after that, that is when Storm will get Devil Slayer abilities. Now, we do know that Devil Slayer abilities, it has been passed down from Silver to Gray. We know that Gray, he is the current Ice Devil Slayer, and it led a lot of people to believe in that Gray, he could pass down his Ice Devil Slayer magic to Storm, which I am a believer in. I actually do think that can happen just because we seen Gray's dad did it with him, so he could keep the tradition alive. And we do know that it will be a good way to pass the torch and a good way to hype up Storm and to get us excited for the next generation. But what if they brought a whole new curveball and had Storm become a water Devil Slayer magic? And I think that would be even more hype, because number one, it will introduce more Devil Slayers, and number two, it will give us something completely new from the Devil Slayer category, because Gray, he's pretty much maxed out what we can see from Ice Devil Slayer. I mean, let's be honest, we know that he'll get basically black markings and all this other hype stuff. We haven't seen it to its full potential, but Gray, he gave us a good understanding on what an Ice Devil Slayer could do. So what if they actually did introduce a water Devil Slayer and actually have Storm learn that? I think that would be hype, and I think that would be a good way to have him get a new and unique ability. And last but not least, I have to discuss his pairing, because a lot of people, they are going to be wondering who will Storm get with, and I do think it's obvious. Nashi and Storm, that has already been something that's been shipped in the community, and I can see why. Like I said, I have a whole video discussing why I think that will happen. If you guys haven't seen that, go watch it. It's called the new pairings video, but I do think that this is actually going to happen. But overall, what do you guys think about Storm Fullbuster? Are you guys excited to see him? Me personally, I think he's going to be as strong as Nashi, if not stronger, and don't be surprised if he does get the main character role a lot more than Nashi, because we've seen what type of role Natsu had with Lucy, and I do believe that Storm, he'll be in the same position to do the same thing. Comment what you guys think down below. Subscribe if you haven't. Peace out.